you're worth. Now go out and get what you're worth.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show. Jim Cella and Johnny Parlay with the facts. So relax, grab a drink, then let's get back.
Good afternoon, Steeler fans. I'm Jim Cella, and you're listening to The Spread. I'm hanging out with our producer, JDash, today. How you doing after that Bucko loss?
It's football season now. Just started.
Yeah. You were rubbing it in my face. They made the playoffs. I was wrong.
Did I say they were going to win anything but,
and then they go
but
and
make the
lose.
playoffs?
So, you said they were going to win the World Series.
Well, I was hoping they were going to win the World Series, but at the beginning of the season, what did I say?
They would win the World Series?
No.
That's pretty much what I remember.
Anyways, let's get to this game.
The Steelers and Jags, we're going down to Jacksonville this week. Jacksonville always gives us a problem, no matter how good or bad the team is. They beat us the first year they even existed. After last week's loss to an 0-3 team, I cannot say that this will be a slam dunk win like I said last week.
Yeah, I mean, they're another winless team, and they're on a 7-game losing streak dating back to last season, but how can you be sure the Steelers can win any game?
Yeah, I don't know. From what the Steelers have shown me this year, I believe they could possibly win the game, but it doesn't surprise me if they would get blown out and lose every game for the rest of the year, quite honestly.
I expect them to win this game. You better expect them to win this game.
But it wouldn't surprise me if they lost, man. Look at last week.
Yeah, I understand. Jacksonville gives them problems, too. They tied the series since 2001. They're both 5-5, but Pittsburgh does come in the 6-point favorite, if that matters.
Yeah, I mean, to me it just says that we're not going to cover because, A, we never cover, and B, we barely win.
Well, listen, the Jags are a terrible team. Since the first half of the first game when they were leading 17-0 to Philly, they've been outscored 152-41.
Yeah, but look, we talked about this last week. The Steelers in the second half are just completely awful. So, I mean, unless we're up by 45 points going into the second half, I'm still going to be nervous until that final bell rings.
I don't think the Jags have it in them to come back I guess Tampa shouldn't have it in them either.
Yeah.
Mike Lennon isn't a terrible quarterback, though, but I guess Blake Bortles isn't either. Henny's done in Jacksonville. It's Blake Bortles now.
Yeah, after all offseason of the Jags saying that, Bortles was going to sit for the whole year behind Henny and learn. Henny came out, looked like complete garbage.
I think everybody knew that was nonsense anyways.
Yeah, I mean, they should have just had an open competition. I mean, it would have made more sense. It would have given Bortles more time with the first team. It would have given him more reps, and he'd be more game ready now than he is. Not that, I mean, he didn't play bad. Last week, 29-37 for 254 yards, 1 touchdown, but he did have 2 picks.
And they lost the game big.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville's lost most of their games big. He's not getting much help, Bortles. Toby Gerhart looks like complete garbage after people thinking he'd be a breakout star for the Jaguars this year.
Yeah, 44 carries, 114 yards.
Yeah.
He did.
And that's for the season, not for a game.
Yeah, he did get in the end zone last week, though, so.
Well, yeah, but 1 TD in 4 games, man, that's definitely not enough if you're going to be a starting running back.
Yeah, 2.6 yards per carry. That's just not going to get it done for anybody.
Yeah. Now, the Steelers are ranked 15th against the run, giving up just a shade over 113 yards a game. So, if Gerhart did okay, it wouldn't shock me too bad if he maybe pumped out 60, 70 yards. But I'd hope we could at least keep him under 100 yards.
Jacksonville actually does average less than 70 rushing yards per game as a team. And Gerhart hasn't had more than 10 touches in a game over the past 3 games, so I don't even think he's going to get enough touches to get 70 yards. I could see around 35 or 40, to tell you the truth.
What about these receivers? They got an undrafted guy. Hearns is leading the team in receiving this year. He has 12 catches for 254 yards and 3 trips to the end zone. Outside of him,
I actually like their receiving core. They got 2 other rookies in Marquise Lee, who was their second-round pick, I believe.
Yeah.
And then they have Allen Robinson they drafted too, who looks really good, but he still needs to mold with Bortles.
Yeah, Bortles is going to have to get a little bit of time to gel with all these guys. Like we just said a couple minutes ago, it would have been better to have an open competition because now he'd have more of a rapport with all these guys.
And Ace Sanders is coming back from a 4-game suspension too, but the problem is, even though I like these receivers, they're injured.
Yeah. Shorts is out, Lee is out, Sanders has missed 4 games because he can't get off the junk. I mean, it's just kind of a mess as far as
Yeah, so
guys
if anybody's
actually
going
playing.
to break out, it's going to be Allen Robinson or Hearns this week.
Well, the Steelers' defense without Ike Taylor, Cortez Allen was second on the team last week with, I believe, 19 tackles. It's scary when your defensive backs are getting that many tackles, because then that just means they're getting through the linebackers in the D-line, or they're completing way too many passes in front of you.
I mean, yeah, the linebackers aren't getting it done. Harrison played 29 snaps last week, had no tackles, and they only have 7 sacks on the season.
Well, the Jags defense really isn't doing too well either. They gave up 34 in week 1 to Philly, 41 to Washington, 44 to Indy, and 33 to San Diego. That's an average of 38 points a game.
And that's league worst.
Yeah, so, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this game went over. So whenever we talk to our buddy Mr. Parlay, we'll see what he thinks. But you may want to think about the over.
What is the over-under on this? Do you
47.
know? 47, I would definitely take the over.
Yeah, because
Jacksonville's worst in total yards and passing yards, too, and they pretty much are in rushing as well, but I think they're like 31st or 30th.
And as much as I do believe the Steelers are going to win this game, they're not going to pitch a shutout. So if they put up any type of points themselves, it'd probably go over.
Yeah, I could definitely see Bortles hooking up with Hearns and Robinson once or twice in the end zone.
Oh, easy, especially with, 4 seconds left in the game to lose it?
And the Steelers aren't good in the middle of the field either on defense. And Clay Harbor's their tight end. He might actually come up with a few big catches.
Well, the Steelers' offense, I would say pretty good under Haley. I know a lot of people are, clamoring for him to lose his job. I think Ben, Bell, and Brown are the best trio in the NFL. I keep saying it week in and week out, and until people start listening to me, I'm going to continue to say it.
I mean, on the outside, yeah, the stats are there for Ben and Brown and obviously Bell. And I like Wheaton, too. He's questionable, but I think he is going to play this week. And yeah, the stats are there, but the problem is all the penalties and all the sacks allowed, and they're just not getting anything put together consistently.
Yeah, every time they move the ball 15 yards forward, they move it 25 yards backwards, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you take a sack, it pretty much is going to end the drive. And the same with 10-yard, 15-yard penalties. 5-yard penalties ain't going to kill you all the time, but it actually did last week at the end of the game when we took a 5-yard penalty when we were trying to run out the clock.
Yeah, and Ben's great at extending plays and making things happen, but when you're giving him 3rd and long all the time, he's not going to be able to convert it. Last week the Steelers were 6 for 14 on 3rd down. That's not going to get it done. I mean, you got to be 50% or higher, in my opinion.
Yeah, but if they can get that corrected, I mean, they have something going. Ben has looked pretty good this year, to tell you the truth. He's held on to the ball very well. I think he only has 2 interceptions on the season.
Yeah, I mean, you keep him upright, and I know they've given up 11 sacks, but sadly for Ben, that's not really a whole lot.
And
for
yeah,
the
he
first couple
fumbled the
games
ball
for him.
too from some of those sacks, but it's not really his fault there.
Yeah, when you're getting blasted with dudes straight up the middle in your face, I mean, it's going to happen. And when you have high picks like Mike Adams, who isn't even playing, DeCastro and Pouncey and Gilbert, these guys should be getting a little bit better job done in front of Ben.
Cody Wallace hasn't looked good either. He led up that first sack on the first drive of last week's game.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, that unit definitely has to get better in pass blocking. Run blocking, they're better than last year. Does that make them good? They're 5th in rushing in the league. But that's kind of an inflated stat considering it's such a small sample size, and they had that big rushing game in Carolina with Bell and Blunt.
All I know is if this week they come out to a big lead in the first half, they better just keep their foot on the gas.
I have no idea why historically the Pittsburgh Steelers have not done that. Bill Cowher didn't do it. Mike Tomlin doesn't do it. It makes no sense.
And it also doesn't help when LeBeau goes into that dime defense and lets them pass 20 yards down the field. The combination of the offense slowing down and the defense going into their dime coverage is going to kill you every week.
Yeah. You keep your foot on the pedal, and you keep the pressure on the other team's quarterback. You force him into more mistakes. You're just going to frustrate him more the more pressure you put on him. When you stop putting that pressure on him, they get in that comfort zone. We start rushing 3 guys, and he's just dropping back and throwing the ball wherever he wants. With all the new rules of where you're allowed to hit a receiver and how you're allowed to touch the receiver moving downfield, I mean, there's just dudes running wide open all over the field, and then they pick up big chunks of yards after they get the ball in their hand.
It's not all the D-backs' fault, though. They have to get more pressure on the QB. In that Carolina game, they looked like they wanted to play. They got pressure on the QB, and you thought things were starting to turn around, and then all of a sudden you go into Tampa Bay came here, and back to no pressure on the QB.
Yep.
And if you have no pressure, I mean, how's the D-back supposed to cover for 5 minutes?
Right. Oh, yeah. I agree with you. The Steelers only have 7 sacks this whole year and 3 turnovers. That's absolute garbage. They're on pace for 28 sacks. As a Steeler fan for 31 years, that's not enough.
I mean, listen, they're 2-2 right now.
Yeah.
They have 7 sacks. They let up 5 sacks last week.
Right.
That is
In
just
one
ridiculous. If you're 2-2 right now, I mean, you should be happy with yourself.
I mean, we're lucky to be 2-2, quite honestly. We almost blew it against Cleveland. I can't even say we put a solid game in against Carolina, because in the first half we looked kind of bad. Pretty bad, actually.
Yeah, but they did finally turn it on. Well, actually, Carolina blew that game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, not a whole lot the Steelers have done is fantastic this year at all. None of it's really impressed me that much.
I mean, we are missing Jones and Shazier, though. That
hurts.
They're bigger parts to our defense than everybody's thinking. I know they weren't star players as of right now, but it definitely hurts losing those 2 linebackers.
Well, Jones is tied with Hayward for the team lead with 2 sacks, which is pretty pathetic. 2 sacks leads the team.
Is one of these guys questionable? Shazier, maybe?
Yeah, Shazier's still hurt. They don't know if he's going to play with that knee injury, the MCL, strain, whatever it is. I'd have to ask Brandon. I don't really know.
But then they let Harrison play. He actually played, 29 snaps last week. So he got more playing time than we actually thought. I mean, I said in the second half he was going to get playing time, but he was out there early, actually.
Yeah, and you can't really fault him for not getting any tackles. He hasn't played football in a while. He didn't get conditioned. He didn't go through training camp. So, I mean, to even be out there for 29 snaps after all that, no conditioning or anything, that's pretty impressive for the guy to have enough physical shape to be able to do that.
I still don't think he's going to be the greatest linebacker for us going
Not at all.
forward, though.
He's definitely just a depth signing, man. They sign him. He knows the defense. He can go out there and, like we said last week, once he gets his legs under him again, if he could play 30, great snaps a game, that would work out for us. I mean, if he could put pressure on the quarterback on third down.
If he puts pressure on the quarterback, I'd let him play every down.
As much as he gets held, he's at least still around the quarterback. They see that. They feel that. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes them have to lean sideways when they throw the ball. They don't have that perfect pocket to be able to just step up and let it rip. So that eventually starts to wear on the quarterback after, as the game goes on.
It does. It didn't happen last week. Let's hope things change. But all in all, I see the Steelers winning this game.
Oh, yeah. I think they're going to win. I think it's going to be a little closer than people think. I don't think the Steelers are going to put up 38 points.
They might have to if they want to win.
They might have to, but I don't know.
Jacksonville's least amount allowed was last week, 33 versus San Diego. So
yeah.
If Pittsburgh, you got to put up 30 points.
I mean, all these teams, they put points on the board all the time and don't stop, though. Philly, Washington, Indy, San Diego, they don't do what we do and we get up 28-20 and we're just going to try to run the ball for 2 straight quarters and it doesn't work.
The Steelers need to look at those 4 previous games at Jacksonville and learn a lesson from it.
They definitely need to, because if they don't, then they may slip into another loss.
But I'm going to say Steelers win this game, but do not cover the spread.
Yeah, I don't know. -6. If we won 18-14, it wouldn't surprise me.
I actually think it's going to be more high scoring than that. I don't think either one of these defenses are that great right now, and I don't think the Steelers are going to have another 13 penalties this week. I think they're actually going to put it together a little bit, maybe 6 or 7, cut that in half.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get some penalties. That's fine. It's just the after the whistle penalties they got to worry about, and the big 15-yard personal fouls for dancing and taunting the ref. And
Tomlin got to get their
focus.
Crap together, pretty much. But these are NFL players. They got to get their own crap together, too.
Oh, yeah, they're grown-ass men, man. They know what they're doing out there. They know that they're costing the team, and they just need to keep their temper under control and play a better game.
I agree.
Well, that's all we got for you tonight about the Steelers Pittsburgh. You could follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. We're picking up followers kind of fast going through this week, I think. 3 or 4 new followers.
Yeah, we just got a fake Pittsburgh Pirates team.
Yeah, hey, I mean, real Pittsburgh Pirates aren't going to follow us because I blast them on the show all the time, but at least this fake guy knows.
If they listen to me, they might follow us.
Well, yeah, you and Johnny Parlay like them. I don't hate the players. I just hate the owner. That's all. I just hate Bob Nutting. I'll move to that topic. But anyway, yeah, follow us on Twitter, bet_the_spread. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Dash, hopefully your Buccos do something in the offseason here and get a pitcher in there and maybe get Alvarez acclimated to first base or something.
Yeah, I think they're pretty set on the infield, outfield. They may need a catcher.
Okay, yeah, they might. We'll see how that goes. That's another segment. But thank you, Pittsburgh, for listening. Thank you, Dash, for sitting in, and everybody have a good day.
Take care.